Feng Ruching stood next to Xia Xia, staring at the little girl sitting by the lake. She then slowly squatted down and pulled Xia Xia into her arms. Xia Xia. Xia Xia raised her head and looked at Feng Ruching blankly. Mother? Xia Xia, you are my life. I will not let anyone hurt you. Since that day, she and Qinya had not yet gone to Nine Gate to settle accounts with those people, and Nine Gate, likewise, was quiet and did not make any moves. She believed that a big storm would come soon. Xia Xia smiled as warm as the sun, which made Feng Ruching's heart softened. Nan Xian appeared behind Feng Ruching, wrapping his arms around the woman in front of him, and pulled Xia Xia into his arms. Nan Xian, Feng Ruching lowered her eyes and said, I plan to go to Nine Gate after settling Tang Yin and Cousin Nalan's wedding. I'll go with you. Nan Xian smiled gently and there was deep love deep in his eyes. All right. Feng Ruching picked Xia Xia up from the ground, touched her cold little feet from the lake water and smiled faintly. Xia Xia, even though it's hot now, you must not use cold water to soak your feet. Let's go back to our room. Oh, Xia Xia cocked her small head. Are mother and father going back to the room to make a little sister? Feng Ruching's face stiffened, and she looked at Nan Xian with some confusion. Nan Xian smiled. I didn't teach her that. Feng Ruching's face changed dramatically, looking down at the little girl in her arms. Who told you these things? Sister Qing Han did. Feng Ruching was stunned. She tried to calm her breathing. They're my girls. Both are my daughters. Me for extra chapters. She must endure her anger. If it were Fu Qin, perhaps she would have already beaten him hard. Feng Ruching forced a smile. Xia Xia, don't learn bad things from Qing Han, and I don't know who taught Qing Han about this. It's Aunt Tang. Feng Ruching's face darkened. She gritted her teeth and said, Xia Xia, go tell your grandfather that we will hold their wedding as soon as possible. I will marry her off first. Oh, all right. Xia Xia jumped down from Feng Ruching's arms and ran to the main courtyard barefooted. Only Feng Ruching and Nan Xian were left behind. Nan Xian took off his coat and draped it over Feng Ruching's shoulders. The wind is a bit strong. Let's go back to the room first. Feng Ruching looked up, and her eyes fell upon the man's handsome face. It is just like the first time I saw him. He was cold, so she could not help but want to break the ice on his face. Nan Xian, Feng Ruching took a few steps forward and smiled gently. I remember when we first met, I was insistent on sleeping with you. Now that I think about it, maybe I failed to get what I wanted in my previous life. That's why I'm so persistent in this life. Nan Xian wrapped his arms around Feng Ruching's waist. You've remembered now? I once had a dream about that. Feng Ruching closed her eyes. In that dream, I also saw Xia Xia. Nan Xian frowned, staring at Feng Ruching blankly. Feng Ruching turned to look at the courtyard behind her. Chiyu? She used that name back then. In that dream, the ninth emperor promised her that she would wait for Chiyu to reunite with her again. She is my daughter now and will stay by my side forever. In the dream, even though the ninth emperor said nothing, she still could feel her guilt and pain. If she could have come a moment earlier, she might have been able to save Chiyu. Unfortunately, she was late. Moreover, Chiyu was a member of Tianling clan in her previous life. Tianling clan? Nan Xian's eyes sank. Is this the reason why Nine Gate wants to capture her? Well, maybe. Feng Ruching pursed her lips. Nine Gate must know something. That's why they want to take Xia Xia. I don't care who Xia Xia was back then. She is my daughter now and I want to watch her grow up and stay with me forever. Nan Xian looked at the woman's determined look. He smiled faintly, raised his hand and touched Feng Ruching's forehead. You attracted a lot of women in your previous life. Feng Ruching was stunned. Nan Changfeng was so useless that he failed to stop those women from approaching you. Nan Changfeng. This name kept coming up in her mind. She frowned and rubbed her temples. However, no matter how hard she tried to recall it, she could not remember who he was. Fortunately, Feng Ruching was not such a persistent person. She would not overthink something that she could not remember. No matter how great the ninth emperor and Nan Changfeng, it was all in the past. She only knew that the person she needed to cherish now was Nan Xian. Feng Ruching hugged the man in front of her. A smile lifted on her stunning face. She stood on tiptoe, bringing her mouth closer to his, and kissed the man's lips gently. Me for extra chapters. These days, Nan Luo stayed in her room resting. She did not come out and cause any trouble. She still had that foul smell and it made people stay away from her. However, the moment she stepped out of the courtyard, her eyes instantly fell upon the couple kissing in front of her. She froze and her breathing grew heavier. Obviously, She was disappointed. She felt searing heat in her chest as if she had been stabbed. Aunt Suyi had not left the Nan family back then. Would Nan Xian have been born in the Nan family? Then the first person he would have known was me, and the person he liked would have been me. There would never have been a second person in his life. Nan Luo lowered her gaze, covering the sadness and pain in her eyes. Unfortunately, there was no ifs. Because of her aunt's departure, she had lost this opportunity. She glanced at the two people embracing each other before her once again, bit her pale lip and turned to walk away. She stumbled a bit, her face was pale and there was a pain in her eyes. However, Nan Luo understood that all her effort would be useless if she went to him now. It's fine. I can wait. She would wait for a perfect opportunity. Land of No Return. A young man stood in the main courtyard inside an ancient mansion. His hair and his robes flapped in the light breeze. He looked somewhat lonely. Master, a man appeared behind him. Not long ago, someone went to Tianya's manor to kidnap the young lady but was stopped by Lady Ruching. The young man turned around, his face was handsome, and his smile was still as warm as ever. Like the spring breeze. How is she? Lady Ruching is fine. But our people do not dare to get too close to her for fear of being discovered by her. The young man lowered his gaze, covering the dark light flashing in his eyes. Who was the one who tried to kidnap Xia Xia? Nine Gate. Nine Gate? He laughed coldly. All right, you can go now. Yes, master. The guard retreated. The young man looked up, gazing at the pale purple sky. It was as if he could look at the sky and see the person he was thinking about. Ching, if you know that I am here and did not go to you, will you be angry? For 2 years, it took all his strength and courage not to go to her side. Nowadays, he was even more afraid to go to her. But don't worry. I won't let anyone hurt you and your daughter. You are my life and I'll fight with all my might for your. I won't let anyone hurt you a bit. The young man lowered his eyes, the corners of his lips hooked into a cold smile, giving off a cold aura. Me for extra chapters. His smile was no longer as warm as the spring breeze. Suddenly the young man's face turned pale, his fingers clutching his lapel. A sharp burning sensation tore through his heart. It was as if he was in hell and flames were burning his body. His feet felt heavy and he fell to his knees, breathing hard. He raised his head and let out a roar, flames spreading out from him, destroying all the surrounding trees. Master Feng? A young girl came from the side, anxiously walked toward the young man. She held his body as her gaze was full of worry. Master Feng, I'll help you to your room. Get lost? Feng Qin pushed her aside and she fell to the ground. She lifted her head. Her face was pale, her eyes gleaming with tears. Master Feng, you clearly know. The young girl stood up from the ground, raised her hand to wipe away the tears and smiled bitterly. You clearly know that you have to control your anger now. It's bad for your body. She had been following Feng Qin for 2 years. This young man was cold, never smiled. However, only at the mention of a person would he feel joy, anger, sadness, and happiness. Yet, if it goes on for a long time, his body would suffer serious damage. I'll help you. The young girl slowly walked to Feng Chen's side and held his arm. Her gaze was firm, looking straight at him. I told you to get lost. Feng Chen raised his hand and once again pushed the young girl some distance away. He tasted a sweet and fishy taste in his throat. He clenched his chest even harder, but in the end he could not hold back anymore and spat a mouthful of blood, falling backward. The young girl's face was pale and panicked. She ran fast toward the young man, catching his body from falling to the ground. His eyes were filled with pain. His face was as pale as paper, with a trace of blood hanging from the corners of his lips. The young girl lifted her finger and stroked the young man's tightly furrowed brow gently. Her beautiful face was filled with heartache, wanting to use her fingers to brush away all the pain for him. I really want to know who that woman you are protecting so much is. The young girl smiled bitterly. She must be a great woman, you cultivated with all your strength for her. It hardly brought you a lot of injuries and caused countless pain to those around you. Feng Qin, you are tired. You have to rest. The demon has started to grow inside your body since you were in the secret realm. If you can't control your anger, he will completely turn you into a demon. At that time you won't be able to go to her. The young girl's voice filled with worry and jealousy. 2 years ago she saw Feng Qin, who was wounded, for the first time and brought him back to her house to help him. She had not left home since childhood, and it was also the first time she had met such a good-looking man. However, he was too indifferent to anything. She wanted to soothe his sorrows, dispel the cold for him and become the sunshine in his heart. Later, her grandfather passed away, and before he died, he had asked Feng Qin to take care of her. Feng Qin fulfilled the promise and took her with him. There was no Feng Qin, perhaps she would have died long ago in the chaotic land of no return. It was also only later that she understood the reason Feng Qin came here. To find a woman, me for extra chapters. Unfortunately, when Feng Qin heard about the woman, the demon inside his body had gone crazy and started to hurt the people around him. Therefore, he did not dare to go back to her. The young girl lowered her eyes and smiled bitterly. She knew that Feng Qin could still control his body. At most, he would only push her away. But she also knew that if one day he could not restrain himself anymore, she would certainly die in his hands. However, she still refused to leave his side because he was her happiness. Master Feng, the young girl raised her hand and caressed his handsome face. You desperately want to become stronger for her and suffer like this? But she has a husband to protect her. She does not know anything about you. All things you've done for her. Is it worth it? No one answered her question. The light breeze brushed by and the young girl felt a little chilly. She squatted on the ground, allowing the unconscious Feng Qin to lie on her lap. It was only at this moment that she could look at him quietly without having to face his cold eyes. The sunlight was just right, enveloping Feng Qin's body, but his brow was still tightly knitted. Perhaps he had recovered a lot as his face was not as pale as before. Time seemed to stand still as she stared at him with a gentle smile. In Nan City, Nan Feng sat upright. His eyes were cold, expressionless as he looked down at the guards kneeling in front of him. After Nan Luo went to Tianya's manor, has there been any news? Master, the young lady has never left General Manor since she went there, and our people didn't dare to get too close to General Manor. Tianya is vigilant, so I'm afraid it is difficult to enter his manor. Smash! Nan Feng threw the cup in his hand to the ground fiercely. Nan Luo is useless. I've never heard of her after she left Nan City. When the time comes, I will settle the score with her. Nan Luo had always been timid, but this time he had really misjudged her. He never thought that she would have the guts not to reply to him. Nan Feng was a bit angry, his face darkened. Just at this time, a hurried voice came from outside the door, panicking. Master, something bad is happening. Nan Feng looked up reluctantly and saw the old housekeeper hurriedly entering. He knelt in front of Nan Feng and his eyes were full of panic. Someone is attacking the disciples of our Nan family outside. What did you say? Nan Feng got up expansively, his face was cold. Who is so bold to make a move against my Nan family? Is it someone from Tianya's manor? Nine Gate has broken their previous promise and started to attack the Nan family again? No, the old housekeeper trembled. Tianya's men have not made any move recently. The identities of those who came to attack the Nan family is still unknown. I've sent people to investigate, but we didn't find any news about them. Those people came and went without a trace as if they appeared out of nowhere. No one knew which forces they came from. Continue to investigate. Nan Feng raised his hand and swept all the tea sets on the table to the ground, his face contorted with anger. I want to know who dares to touch my people. Nan Feng killed many people from the Nan family, but the ones he killed were his business, and only he could touch his men. Yes, master, me for extra chapters. The old housekeeper wiped the sweat off his forehead and retreated. The entire study room went silent. Everyone trembled and did not dare to speak. Master, a voice broke the silence. The young master is not young anymore. Lady Wei Rong has been worried about him, afraid that he is too young to withstand the power that he will inherit. But, master, do you really want to ally with Nine Gate? Don't you want to control Nine Gate? Listening to the old man's voice, Nan Feng fell silent. Nan Feiyu is the reincarnation of Nan Changfeng. This matter is only a lie that I've deliberately spread to the world, and I will be exposed if I let Nan Feiyu accept the inheritance. But, Nan Feng sneered. The old master and Sui have left the Nan family, so the Nan family is all under my control. I've nothing to fear. The inheritance, in case Yuer is lucky. Even if he only gets a small amount of power after accepting the inheritance, I can still help him in his cultivation later. He has much time to build his strength. Elder Qin is right. I will list some needed spirit herbs and send someone to look for them. After 3 months, we will give Yuer the inheritance. Elder Qin smiled faintly. The inheritance was not only an inheritance of Nan Changfeng's strength, but more importantly, it was the best opportunity to prove that the young master was Nan Changfeng's reincarnation. At that time, if the world knew that the Nan family's ancestors had returned, it would greatly benefit the Nan family. Yes, master. Meanwhile, in Nine Gate, the elder in gray robes stood calmly. His face was cold, frowning. For some reason he was always a bit restless these past few days. He always felt that something bad was about to happen. Your Holiness. Your Holiness. Suddenly an anxious voice came from outside the door. The elder in gray robes turned and saw a disciple walking in quickly, his voice tinged with tears. Your Holiness, all disciples who went out for training this time have been taken away. Taken away? The elder's face sank as he asked, who did it? I'm not sure. Those people let me go, but all the other seniors were taken away. The disciple's eyes were red as he cried his heart out. Your Holiness, what should we do now? The elder's face darkened, a cold light flashed in his eyes. How dare someone take away my Nine Gates disciples? How dare they? Those who allowed you to come back, did they want you to pass any message? Yes, yes. The disciple's face was full of tears. Those people said that in the future, if anyone from Nine Gate dared to appear out there again, he would bring all of them back as slaves or kill them. The elder's face was red with anger. How dare you? Someone inform the others to rescue the disciples and find out who is the one who dares to threaten Nine Gate. Nine Gate has never been humiliated like this before. Whoever dares to threaten Nine Gate, I will definitely make him regret for the rest of his life. Chiu Hui had just reached the door. She sneered when she heard the elder's words. Me for extra chapters. She was also one of Nine Gate members, but ever since these people intended to kidnap Xia, she would never respect them again. Therefore Chiu Hui did not say one more word. She turned around and walked out of the courtyard. The Nan family and Nine Gate both had a pivotal role in the mainland. Therefore the news about the disciples of these two forces being killed outside spread fast. When the news reached Feng Ruqing, she was stunned for a moment. Qing'er, have you heard the news? Nan Xian walked toward Feng Ruqing smilingly. I saw a few people sneaking around and peeping in outside our manor in these few days. Feng Ruqing frowned, looking at the man next to her. One of them is from the Nan family and should be related to Nan Luo. Since Nan Luo appeared, they sensed that she would not come without reason. She must have an agenda. Only after the spies of the Nan family appeared did they suddenly understand. Feng Ruqing sneered. The Nan family had done so much harm to Nan Luo, but in the end she still helped Nan Feng. Was she filial or stupid? What about the others? I'm not sure, but it seems like they don't have any bad intentions. They were just standing not far away watching us. Last time Qing Han took Xia out, Xia accidentally fell, and they went up to help her. Xia was now in a dangerous situation, but Feng Ruqing would not restrict her freedom. Xia was just like a little wild horse. She would definitely have a hard time if she had to stay in the house all the time. Therefore, as a mother, she could not treat her daughter in this way. She would ask Nan Xian to follow Xia secretly. Feng Ruqing froze. She lowered her eyes and asked, so, who are those people? I don't know. Nan Xian smiled faintly. But one day the people behind this will come out and then we will know who sent them. Feng Ruqing pursed her lips. Nan Xian, do you think this person is also responsible for the attack on the Nan family in Nine Gate? Maybe? The Nan family in Nine Gate did not have many enemies or not as many as Tianya. Besides, over the years, no outsiders would dare to attack their disciples. I don't understand. If he is an acquaintance, why didn't he come out to meet us? Instead, he has been hiding in the back. Feng Ruqing's heart tightened slightly. He obviously doesn't want us to know who he is. Qing'er, perhaps he has some reason for not coming to us. But even if he has some difficulties, we can face it together. Why is he hiding from me? Feng Ruqing's face sank. Nan Xian, do you have any way to find him? All right. Nan Xian did not answer whether he would have a way. He agreed straight away. Me for extra chapters. Qing'er rarely asked for his help, but whatever Qing'er asked for he would never refuse. Feng Ruqing smiled. Nan Xian, don't let him know about this. If those people want to keep an eye on us, then just let them do so. We will pretend like we don't know anything. She paused for a moment and continued, otherwise if he knew that we have noticed him, he will definitely move away, and it might make it much more difficult for us to find him. Nan Xian raised his hand and touched Feng Ruqing's head. His voice was gentle. Leave this to me. You can prepare for your cousin's wedding without any worries. Don't go out. You and Xia better stay at home when I'm not around. He might be away for a few days and he was most worried about Qing'er and Xia. I'm too busy these days so I have no time to go out. I will not allow Xia to go out when you're not around. Nan Xian was not here to protect Xia Xia, so she would not dare to let her go out. Good, Nan Xian breathed a sigh of relief and smiled. Qinger, I will find him as soon as possible. No matter what reason he has for not seeing you, I will drag him to you. Feng Ruqing lowered her eyes. She had some guesses in her heart, but she was not sure if it was really him. 9 Gate. The elder in gray robes sat in the study room, frowning. In the past few days, 9 Gate's disciples had endured countless attempts to kill them, but after those people had attacked the disciples, they disappeared without a trace, as if they had never appeared. No matter how much the people of 9 Gate searched, there was no trace of those people. Your Holiness, a red-robed old man pondered for a moment and asked, don't you think these people are Tianya's men? Didn't they already know that we were the ones who sent people to take Nanqiu in the first place? Tianya already knew that it was 9 Gate who tried to kidnap Xia Xia. On top of that, there was another piece of news that shocked them even more. It shouldn't be Tianya. That old man has always been arrogant. If he wanted to settle accounts with us, he would come to 9 Gate and he won't kill those innocent disciples out there. Huiyu smiled faintly and continued, what's more, we still have Tianya's secret in our hands. You mean? The news that the young girl called Tang Yin from Tianya's manor is a beast man? And it seems that her mother is Silver Snake Queen. The red-robed old man frowned. If this news spreads, General Manor will be attacked by countless people. Besides the Nan family in 9 Gate, other forces are quite strong in this mainland. That girl would naturally attract countless people to come to her. They would use her to cultivate and make a breakthrough to the next rank. Indeed, Huiyu's face was expressionless. I am extremely disgraceful about this matter. This kind of behavior will be condemned by heaven. But many people won't care about that. They just want to double cultivate with her to get stronger power. As the leader of 9 Gate, he had his great pride. He would only make a breakthrough with his ability and never do such a heartless thing. However, others would not care so much and would only do as they pleased. Who's that? Me for extra chapters. Just at this moment, Huiyu frowned as he quickly pushed open the door. In an instant, a young disciple fell to the ground with panic in his eyes. Your Holiness, the two men looked at each other, both saw alarm in the other's eyes. Huiyu turned to look at the young disciple and asked coldly, what are you doing here? The disciple shivered. 9 Gate has been attacked again and I'm here to report that. So what did you just hear? Huiyu asked expressionlessly. They were so cautious about this matter of Beastman. They did not want someone to do such a heartless thing. Of course, at this moment, Huiyu forgot that he had tried to separate a mother from her daughter before, and compared to this matter, it was equally heartless. And he was selfish. He was afraid that someone would take advantage of Tang Yin to make a breakthrough and overtake 9 Gate. Only Nanqiu could save 9 Gate. She would undoubtedly be more powerful than any man in this mainland. However, they failed to bring Nanqiu back. So he had to do something for 9 Gate's future. The disciple trembled and said, I just arrived. I'm not sure I understand what your holiness just said. Please spare my life. Huiyu glanced at the disciple coldly. Seeing that the young man did not look like he was lying, Huiyu nodded and said, all right, you can leave. After all, no one had dared to eavesdrop on his conversation. The young disciple subconsciously sighed with relief as he hurriedly ran up and disappeared in a flash. When the disciple left, Huiyu turned and was about to leave when he saw another disciple approaching hurriedly and reported, Your Holiness, our disciple squad that was outside today has been attacked again. Ever since someone attacked the disciple squad, Huiyu had ordered all disciples around this mainland to return to 9 Gate as soon as they could. However, it would take time to come back. Therefore, the disciple squads could not return to 9 Gate again as most of them had been killed on their way back. Huiyu was stunned. I remember only one disciple squad was left outside, right? Someone already came to report just now. Why are you still here to report again? The green-robed disciple knelt and looked at Huiyu, surprised. Your Holiness, only one disciple came back today and that disciple was already wounded, so I came to report him on his behalf. There was no other person. That group of people seemed to provoke 9 Gate. They would only let one disciple live and send him back to report the news. But this time, the person was seriously injured, and he had fallen unconscious before he could say anything. The green-robed disciple was the one who was guarding the mountain gate, so he had hurriedly came to report. Huiyu and the red-robed old man looked at each other again, and their expressions changed dramatically. That person should be a spy from another force. He gritted his teeth and rushed in the direction where the young disciple had just left. The young disciple looked back from the top of the back mountain. He carefully tied a letter to the pigeon's leg and let the pigeon fly into the sky. A moment later he heard footsteps coming from behind him and smiled bitterly. He already knew that Huiyu would find out that he was lying. Me for extra chapters. Fortunately he had sent the news. His master would not disturb his family again. A few days later, in the sky above Nan Manor, a white pigeon crossed the sky, flew over and landed on Nan Fang's finger. He unwrapped the letter on the pigeon's leg and glanced at the letter. A cold smile formed on his mouth. There is a girl in Tianya's manor who is a beastman. Her mother is a silver snake queen. She's gifted and can be used to make a breakthrough. If we capture this girl, perhaps I can improve my cultivation and reach a higher rank. Standing behind Nan Fang was an old man, who respectfully said, "Master, then is it time to start making moves against Tianya?" "Yes." Nan Fang lowered his eyes and sneered. "And what I want more than this girl is Suyi. But am worried that I can't leave Nan City to bring Suyi back. Now is the right opportunity. You spread this news and when Tianya is dead, no one will protect Suyi again." Nan Fang never thought that Suyi's daughter-in-law was the young lady of General Manor. He would not find Tianya's manor if he did not order his man to follow Nan Luo. Nan Luo was useless. She never contacted him after she went there and did not even tell him her whereabouts. Fortunately, there was a beastman living with Tianya, allowing him a chance to destroy Tianya and get Suyi back. "Master, that girl also seems to be of great use. If someone else gets her first, won't it?" Nan Fang sneered. "I'll use those people to destroy Tianya. After all, I can't leave Nan City. Once I get that girl, she will have no way to help other men. But I won't keep her with me because Suyi might be unhappy about this." The old man lowered his head. "One more thing." Nan Fang raised the letter in his hand. "Kill this guy's wife and children. Kill all of them and leave no one behind." The old man was shocked and raised his head to look at Nan Fang. "Master, that guy sent a message out. 9 Gate will notice him and kill him. The Nan family doesn't need trash like him." But the old man's face was pale. "Master, you will scare the people in Nan City, and they will never work for you again? Well, just find a random excuse. Just say that the Nan family has been attacked, and that man is a spy and has betrayed the Nan family. He and his family should be executed for that reason." Nan Fang's tone was not heavy, as if he was talking about a simple matter. The old man trembled a little. He did not know whether his decision to submit to Nan Fang was right or wrong. Nan Fang always left no room for discussion. Once his men or his officer were no longer useful to him, he could be ruthless and kill them as he wished. However, there was no turning back. It was too late to regret. Master, his youngest daughter. She's just 2 years old and his sister-in-law just gave birth. How about forgiving these 2 children? These children were innocent. Even the most ruthless people should have some tolerance for them. Nan Fang looked at the old man coldly. His gaze was as sharp as a knife, so harsh that the old man trembled and closed his mouth. "I don't want another Tianya in the future, so..." Nan Fang laughed coldly. "Everyone in his family, even the ants and mice. I won't let them go." The old man lowered his head, his voice trembling. "Yes, master." He had tried to speak for them. There was nothing he could do if his master disagreed. Me for extra chapters. He did not dare to speak more, afraid that the next unlucky one would be him. Of course, it was also because of Nan Fang's words and actions that he started to find a way back for himself as well. He did not want to be called useless. Otherwise his family might be in danger too. The reason he opened his mouth was that he felt pity for the innocent children, and he hoped that there would be that day his master could spare his poor children. Yet now it seemed that there was no such possibility. The old man lowered his gaze, hiding the emotions under his eyes, and only after half a second did he ease up quite a bit and cupped his fist. "Master, I'll take my leave." "Go." Nan Fang waved his sleeve and said indifferently. The old man retreated, hurried away and soon disappeared. He did not see that Nan Fang had been staring at his departing figure with eyes filled with murderous intent. "What I need is someone who will follow all my orders. If this old man already has the guts to speak against me, there will be no need to keep him with me anymore. But I can still use that old man for something. I'll let him go for now, and when he is completely useless, he and his family will disappear from my Nan City forever." The old man did not know that his short moment of compassion would cost him his life, and even his family was dragged into it. General Manor was filled with lights and decorations. and even red lanterns were hung high on the door. Everyone knew that someone was going to get married, but no one knew who it was. Therefore, every time someone passed by General Manor, they could not help but poke around, but the people in General Manor had never told them anything. In fact, except for Feng Lianqing, other people in the manor also did not know who was getting married, so naturally there was no way to answer them. A gentle breeze blew at the window curtains, flipping them up and down. The young girl put her hand on her cheek, looking down at the silver snake lying still on the bed. "Mother, do you know that someone in General Manor is going to get married? They won't tell me who it is, but I already knew it must be Feng Lianqing and Helian Yu. Helian Yu must be embarrassed to say it after what Feng Lianqing had done to her before. But, Feng Lianqing. He's quite unsuitable for Helian Yu." She and Helian Yu were enemies first, but after knowing what Feng Lianqing did to Helian Yu, Tang Yin felt that he was not worthy of her. However, if Helian Yu loved him, she had no right to stop them and only wished for their happiness. Xiao Qing seems to be very busy preparing for Feng Lianqing's wedding. Nan Xian, that vixen, is not here, not even accompanying Xiao Qing. Oh, and brother Nalan. He always comes to me and gives me soup. He must have been bribed by that vixen, trying to fatten me up. It's a pity. Xiao Qing said she liked fat people. Even if I am fat, Xiao Qing will not abandon me. Every day Tang Yin would talk to Xiaoya, hoping that Xiaoya would wake up from her sleep after hearing her voice. However, every day she would leave the room with disappointment. Creak. Me for extra chapters. The door was pushed open. Tang Yin turned and saw Feng Ruqing carrying a red wedding dress and walking toward her. The color was beautiful, bright as blood. Tang Yin was a bit confused as Feng Ruqing dragged her outside. "Come and try on the dress." "Try on the dress?" Tang Yin looked at the gorgeous red dress in Feng Ruqing's hand and was somewhat dazed. "You want me to help you try on the wedding dress?" "Sure, we're about the same size anyway." She and Helian Yu were both about the same height. "I guess Helian Yu is too embarrassed to come, so she was asking me to try it on instead?" Tang Yin smiled brightly. No one saw that the moment Tang Yin and Feng Ruqing stepped out of the room, the silver snake's skin gradually began to shed. Of course, it did not fall off entirely, only half off, and then still no movement again, continued to lie unconscious quietly on the bed. At this moment, Feng Ruqing was busy preparing Tang Yin's wedding, and Nan Xian had left to find the mysterious man stalking his family. As for Tianya, after he knew someone had attacked Nine Gate and the Nan City secretly, he was also busy investigating this matter. So no one realized that there was a big storm heading to the mainland. Mother, Qing Han and Fu Qin stood in front of Feng Ruqing quietly. Feng Ruqing frowned. These days, the uneasy feeling in her heart was getting stronger, making her a bit restless. She was uneasy because of Xia before, but this time, could it be that Nine Gate was coming to them again? "Qing Han, Fu Qin, recently you guys have been patrolling around with Spirit Beast. I always feel that something is about to happen. No matter what, cousin Nalan and Tang Yin's wedding should go on smoothly." "All right," Fu Qin smiled gently. "You have a wedding to prepare for. Just leave these things to us." "Good." Feng Ruqing smiled and stood up. She then saw Nalan Jing walking toward her. "Qing'er," Nalan Jing pursed his lips and stood in front of Feng Ruqing, looking at her blankly. "Who is actually getting married in General Manor?" Feng Ruqing pondered for a moment. "I can't tell you now. Oh, and if you are free, come to try on the wedding robe." Nalan Jing's face stiffened and he lowered his head. "Why do you want me to try? I'm afraid it's not good if I try on the robe." After all, it was a wedding item that others would use. How could he just try it on? "Cousin, tell me honestly, is it possible that Xiao Yin has a man she likes in these 2 years? Yesterday when he went to look for Tang Yin, he happened to see Tang Yin wearing a red wedding dress, smiling brightly. That kind of happiness. Once he saw that scene, he felt like a piece of ice had just stabbed his heart. No wonder Tang Yin has always been missing recently, perhaps. She already has someone she loves and will marry him soon. Is that why cousin is hiding it from me?" Feng Ruqing was speechless. How should she tell Nalan Jing that the people who would get married were him and Tang Yin? However, once Nalan Jing knew, he would certainly tell Tang Yin the truth. Me for extra chapters. She hesitated for a moment and said, "Cousin Nalan, you don't need to think much. You'll know in 2 days." Nalan Jing's body stiffened. As expected, it must be because Tang Yin is going to marry someone that cousin chooses to hide it from me. Otherwise, if other people are getting married, why am I the only one who has no idea who is getting married? "Cousin, I understand," Nalan Jing smiled bitterly. "I will respect her choice." He had always wanted Tang Yin to let go of Feng Ruqing and begin a new life with a man who cared for her, but he did not expect that in the end she still wanted to marry someone else. After saying that, Nalan Jing gave Feng Ruqing no chance to say anything else as he turned around and left. Qing Han was a bit confused. Mother, what does uncle mean? Aunt Tang's choice? But Aunt Tang does not have a choice, mother arranged it. Fu Qin was speechless. It's so tiring to watch these two idiots in love. Two idiots. Feng Ruqing glanced at Fu Qin and Qing Han smilingly. You guys go and do your thing. You don't have to think about cousin Nalan and Tang Yin. Let them be. One was her own family member and the other was her best friend. Of course she wanted the best for them. The only pity she felt was that her uncles and grandfather Nalan were not in land of no return. A roar filled with pain echoed throughout the entire mountain. The young girl stood outside the room, heartbroken as she listened to the sounds coming from inside. Boom! Powerful flames erupted, destroying the whole room. The force swirled toward the young girl and knocked her to the ground. She spurted a mouthful of blood, shocked and horrified. But she loved Feng Chen. She did not want to leave him. She knew that she could not approach Feng Chen at this moment, but watching him from afar was already enough for her. Qing, the young man opened his eyes. His eyes had gone bright red as if they were burning with the flames. However, at that moment, an image of a beautiful smile suddenly flashed through his mind. Qing. Qing? He clenched his fists, breathing hard through his nose as if this was the only way he could maintain his sanity. If he forgot about her one day, then his purpose of becoming stronger would be useless. Just like when he was in Huaxia back then. Without her, life would lose its meaning. Strength, money could not compare to her smile. As the young girl stood up, she heard Feng Chen's murmur the name that stuck in her heart like a thorn, and she could not help but smile bitterly. No matter how long she had been close to Feng Chen, and even after that woman had gotten married, he could never forget her. However, she still wanted to watch him even from afar. She knew that he already had someone in his heart, but she would still follow him, me for extra chapters. Forever. Suddenly a gentle breeze blew by. A man in snow-white robes appeared in the sky not far away and landed in the courtyard. He was very handsome and stunning with eyes as cold as the moon. Feng Chen, the young girl was stunned for a moment, and when she regained her senses she rushed forward and blocked the man. Who are you? Are you here to find Master Feng? Master Feng has too many enemies and recently he has attacked Nan City in Nine Gate for a woman. She was afraid that the man in front of her was here to find trouble with Feng Chen. The man looked at the young girl coldly and did not say a word. He moved like a gust of wind and in the blink of an eye, he was already in front of Feng Chen. Feng Chen opened his eyes weakly, staring at the familiar face. It was so familiar that it made him panic. Why would he appear in this place? Does that also mean that Qing? Do you really think we don't know anything? Nan Xian walked up to him expressionlessly. You sent your people to spy on us outside General Manor. Qinger and I have long been looking for you. She guessed it was you but she could not confirm it. Now seeing you here finally convinced me that you're the person behind this. Feng Chen lowered his eyes, a bitter smile hung on the corners of his mouth. She knows me so well. Unfortunately he was discovered by her after all. Can you not tell Qinger? I don't want her to know. Why? Nan Xian stared at Feng Chen coldly. She wants to see you very much. Feng Chen shook his head. I can't see her for now. Nan Xian, don't tell her that I'm here. Just pretend that you didn't find me. Otherwise I'm afraid it'll hurt her. He wanted to protect her. He would rather hurt everyone than ever hurt her. I will not lie to Qinger. Nan Xian raised his hand and struck Feng Chen. Nalan Jing's wedding is coming up. I need to rush back. You can't follow me with your current condition, but I will bring Qinger to you. I've marked your body so no matter where you escape to, I will bring Qinger to you. Feng Chen was stunned. He tried to hold back a mouthful of blood that was threatening to pour from his throat and suppressed the black flame behind his eyes. He would not let Nan Xian see what was happening inside him. Otherwise, he would tell Qing everything. Nan Xian had left for a few days to look for Feng Chen. Nalan Jing's wedding was approaching and he needed to rush back to Wushang City. Therefore he looked at Feng Chen for the last time before turning around to leave. The young girl panicked as she looked at Nan Xian who was about to leave. She gritted her teeth and rushed forward, stopping him. Lui Nin. Feng Chen's face changed dramatically as he scolded in a stern voice. Lui Nin did not look at Feng Chen. She knelt in front of Nan Xian begging him. Please save Master Feng. Nan Xian stopped in his tracks. He turned to look at Feng Chen and frowned. Me for extra chapters. I know you are Tianya's grandson-in-law. You must know how to save Master Feng. Lu Yinyan's eyes were red. A demon is growing inside his body. He has been relying on his strength to control it. He was only sick once a month before, but now he is sick almost every day. If this continues, I am afraid he will completely turn into the demon. Nan Xian's face turned cold. He could see that Feng Chen was sick, but he did not notice a demon growing inside Feng Chen's body, and his condition was getting serious. It was too late to bring Qing'er here or Feng Chen back to Wushang City. Lu Yinan. Feng Chen's face darkened. Don't meddle in this matter. Nan Xian, I know my body well. Puff. Blood spurted out from Feng Chen's mouth before he could finish his words. The flames in his eyes could not be hidden anymore. It spread outward instantly, turning the sky gloomy, and the entire courtyard was like being in a sea of flames. Nan Xian was somewhat shocked. He swiftly rushed to Feng Chen's side. Everyone get out now? His voice was cold. Seeing that Nan Xian had decided to stay, Lu Yinan breathed a sigh of relief. She had long heard of the great man Tianya. This man was Tianya's grandson-in-law, perhaps. He had a way to save Master Feng. As long as Master Feng is safe, even if he blames and scolds me, I'm willing to bear it. She took one final look at him, turned around and left the courtyard. Feng Chen was afraid that he might hurt others. Therefore, he had driven everyone in the mansion away. Only Lu Yinan stubbornly refused to leave. Feng Chen clenched his fist tightly and stood up from the ground. His eyes were cold. Lu Yinan? Lu Yinan looked at Feng Chen apologetically. She pursed her lips and finally turned away, leaving Nan Xian alone. Nan Xian maintained his expressionless face, looking at Feng Chen calmly. You don't have to hide from me. I don't want Qing'er to see a crazy man when I bring her here. Feng Chen clenched his fists, trembling. You could pretend that you never found me? Nan Xian said faintly, Qing'er is not a fool. Even if I don't tell her, she will find you herself. You better sit down. I'll check your body. Feng Chen was stunned. He was somewhat stubborn and did not want to let Nan Xian come closer. Nan Xian said expressionlessly, if you don't want Qing'er to worry about you, you'd better let me help you. After hearing these words, Feng Chen's body stiffened. He closed his eyes and what came to mind was Feng Ruking's familiar face, so he finally sat down obediently. Nan Xian promised me one thing. Don't tell Qing'er until I've recovered. The young man smiled faintly. If I can't recover, you can tell Qing'er that I'm going home, back to a place that only she and I know. A place only they know. Nan Xian's face grew colder. He pressed the young man's shoulder hard with a little force. The young man drew a long, painful breath. His face was pale. Don't move. I will check your condition later. No matter what, I will cure you and get you to go to see Qing'er safely. The only pity is Nailan Jing's wedding. Seems like I can't make it back in time. Feng Chen won't wait for me to return if I leave him now. This guy was not only Qing'er's brother. He is so important to her. I must save him from the demon. Otherwise, Qing'er will be very worried about him. Me for extra chapters. Tang Yin had just stepped into general manner when he looked at Nailan Jing standing not far away. She froze for a moment, confused. Brother Nailan, are you waiting for me? He released his hand that was wrapped around his chest and walked toward Tang Yin. Tang Yin had always felt that there was something different about Nailan Jing. She was slightly stunned and took a few steps back. What's wrong with you? Did he know that I took the herbal dish that Xiao Qing gave to him last night and drank it? Xiao Yin, Nailan Jing stopped in front of Tang Yin. He lowered his eyes, staring at the little girl in front of him. May I ask you a question? Do you think it would be good if we are together for the rest of our lives? Together? Forever? Tang Yin smiled brightly. You are Xiao Qing's cousin. If I follow Xiao Qing for the rest of my life, I will also be with you for the rest of my life. Why are you asking such a thing? I don't mean that. I mean, can the two of us be together for the rest of our lives? Nailan Jing's fair face instantly flushed red. Tang Yin got angry. Nailan Jing, I didn't expect you to be this kind of person. Has Xiao Qing done anything wrong to you? Why do you want to cut her out? I had really misjudged you. Nailan Jing froze. He looked at Tang Yin's angry face and panicked, hurriedly pulling her hand. That's not what I meant. I meant, Tang Yin huffed. No need to explain. If you don't want Xiao Qing anymore, then I don't want you either. She shook off Nailan Jing's hand angrily and turned to leave. Nailan Jing became more flustered, and once again raised his hand to tug on Tang Yin's hand, pulling her into his embrace. Tang Yin froze and was unable to move. The man was so close that she could feel his breath. In this life she had never been this close with any man, but somehow, her face flushed and her breathing grew ragged. She hurriedly raised her hand and pushed him away. She glared at Nailin-Jing angrily, as if that would cover up the panic in her eyes. After that, Tang Yin left without looking back at him and disappeared. Nailin-Jing was dumbfounded as he looked at Tang Yin's departing figure. He lowered his head and smiled bitterly. It seems that I've made Xiaoyin angry. I'm afraid that I will never have the opportunity to do so again in the future. Tang Yin walked faster, her hand caressing her hot cheek. Young lady. Suddenly, a cheerful voice came from ahead. Me for extra chapters. Tang Yin raised her eyes and saw Qian Ning, standing at the door of the room waiting for her. Qian Ning held the red wedding dress in her hand, looking at Tang Yin smilingly. Qian Ning, what are you doing here? Tang Yin asked, looking puzzled. Her eyes fell upon the wedding dress in Qian Ning's hand. I've already tried on this dress for Heli and you. Why are you still bringing it over? Qian Ning's eyes filled with guilt. She wiped the tears from the corners of her eyes. Young lady, I'm sorry, there is nothing I can do. If I don't do what Princess said, she will drive young lady out of General Manor, and by then, young lady will be more upset. Qian Ning stepped forward and held Tang Yin's hand. Young lady, I'll help you change your clothes. Is there something wrong with this wedding dress? Tang Yin did not think much about it. She smiled and said, all right, I'll try it again. After all, Helian Yu is also a member of General Manor. Helping her is the same as helping Xiaoqing. Qian Ning sighed. Young lady is so naive. But at least I don't have to force her to put on this wedding dress. Young lady, let's go. Qian Ning looked back at the decorated General Manor. She turned around, held Tang Yin's hand and walked toward the room. Chapter 1850, The Unexpected 3. There was a custom in Land of No Return that wedding banquets were held at night. They held the wedding ceremony in Land of No Return, so they would naturally follow the customs and wait until after dusk for the guests to come. Tang Yin, who was still in the room changing her clothes, was unaware of it. Young lady, inside the room, Qian Ning helped Tang Yin with the wedding dress, her hidden tears almost falling. You look so good in this dress. Really? Tang Yin smiled brightly. Will Xiaoqing like me a little more when she sees me? I too think this dress is so pretty, but it doesn't belong to me. However, it did fit her well. Tang Yin just wanted to take off the wedding dress, but Qian Ning held her hand and smiled. Young lady, let's go out first. Princess asked me to bring you to her. She is still waiting for us. Tang Yin's eyes were blank. All right, then we'll go to Xiaoqing now. She smiled, took Qian Ning's hand and walked out. General Manor was filled with many beautiful flowers. Nan Luo stepped through the garden and could not help but hear the sound of chatter, which made her stop in her tracks. This time, Feng Ruqing was busy preparing for the wedding, so she had probably forgotten about Nan Luo. I heard that Lady Ruqing is holding a wedding for young Lady Tang and Master Nailin. I've seen their names written on the invitation card, but it seems that both young Lady Tang and Master Nailin don't know about it. Shush. We can't talk about this now. But today is the wedding day and they both still have no idea that they're getting married. What will Lady Ruqing do when the time comes? Nan Luo smirked. She took one last look at the place where the murmurs came from, turned around and walked toward the backyard. Not far away, Nailin-Jing smashed the tree hard, but he seemed to be unaware of the pain. His face darkened, expressionless. Nan Luo looked at Nailin-Jing and smiled coldly. Me for extra chapters. Nailin-Jing is Feng Ruqing's cousin, but Feng Ruqing is closer to Tang Yin. She hid it from Nailin-Jing, so that means Nailin-Jing doesn't want to marry Tang Yin, right? Seeing Nailin-Jing's angry face, Nan Luo thought he must have heard the news that he would be getting married today. He looked unhappy. The wedding ceremony would start soon, but he had not changed into the wedding dress. Nan Luo exhaled deeply and walked toward Nailin-Jing. The afterglow of the sunset spread throughout the backyard. Nailin-Jing clenched his bloody fist tightly. The wedding ceremony is about to begin? He wanted to stop it but did not have the guts. Master Nailin, an unfamiliar voice came from behind, causing Nailin-Jing to frown impatiently. He turned to look and saw the young girl. He pondered for a moment, not even remembering who this girl was. Chapter 1851, The Unexpected 4-inch. Who are you? The man asked expressionlessly and coldly. Nan Luo smiled. Suyi is my aunt. Nailin-Jing looked puzzled. Suyi has a niece? Why haven't I heard of it even after coming to General Manor for such a long time? Oh, Nailin-Jing responded indifferently, his face cold. What do you want from me? Master Naylan, I know you are not happy, but what can you do? This is all arranged by Maiden Feng. Naylan Jing was stunned. It seems that cousin has arranged Xiaoyin's marriage? He stared at Nan Luo in disgust. Obviously, he did not have any good feelings for this woman talking in front of him. Nan Luo seemed to have sensed the change in Naylan Jing's expression. She laughed and said, Master Naylan, even if you are not happy now, you can only listen to her, right? Maiden Feng is the master of general manner. Although you are her cousin, you are only an outsider. Naylan Jing's face was expressionless. Just say what you want to say. No need to beat around the bush. Master Naylan, what I want to tell you is, Nan Luo looked down. Maiden Feng only wants the best for you. I hope that Master Naylan does not blame her. A cold light flashed in Naylan Jing's eyes as he took 2 steps closer to Nan Luo. I don't know why you come and say these things to me, but I believe in my cousin. There is no use for you to come and talk to me. Nan Luo's face changed slightly and she lowered her head. I don't mean that I just what? I saw that Master Naylan is not in a good mood. I just want to comfort you. Nan Luo clenched her fists and raised her head slowly. I know. You don't want to marry young Lady Tang. You're angry with her because she has arranged everything against your will. Naylan Jing suddenly stopped in his tracks. His body stiffened. He raised his head and looked at Nan Luo in disbelief. What did you just say? Nan Luo looked confused. Perhaps he still does not know? Me for extra chapters. Nan Luo gritted her teeth and said, I just heard the guests say that Maiden Feng has arranged a marriage for you and young Lady Tang. You will get married tonight. Naylan Jing was dumbfounded. Immediately, an indescribable thrill of excitement surged through him. Even his body began to tremble. The man who will marry Xiaoyin is me. So the person that cousin arranged for Xiaoyin is also me? He had misunderstood Tang Yin since the beginning. This surprise came too suddenly. He was completely dumbfounded and did not know how to react. Master Naylan? Nan Luo looked at Naylan Jing, confused. Naylan Jing regained her senses, and a smile emerged on his handsome face. If Nan Luo had not met Nan Xian before, perhaps she would fall in love with Naylan Jing's pure smile. Unfortunately, having met such a perfect and stunning man, no one else could ever replace him in her heart. Chapter 1852, The Unexpected v. Naylan Jing, Why are you still standing here? Feng Lianqing approached from not far away. He frowned as he saw Nan Luo standing aside. It took a few seconds before he could recall the woman's name. What are you doing here? Why are you not staying in your room? You still want to find Nan Xian? Nan Luo seemed panicked, subconsciously took a few steps back. I don't understand what you are talking about. Nan Luo, do you really think that we are blind? The way you look at Nan Xian is different. The way you look at him is just like the way he looks at Sister Rookink. Feng Lianqing laughed coldly. Nan Luo took a few steps back, biting her lip hard. She never knew that something had long been shown so obviously. She thought no one would notice her feelings for Nan Xian. Get lost. Feng Lianqing was furious. Today is a big day, so I'll let you go, but if you run out again next time to cause trouble, do not blame me for not being nice. Nan Luo's face turned pale, and her eyes full of horror as she took a few steps back. Wait. Naylan Jing suddenly spoke out, causing Nan Luo to stop in her tracks. She pursed her lips and raised her head to look at Naylan Jing. The man looked cold and expressionless. He walked toward Nan Luo, suddenly stretched out his leg and viciously kicked over her, sending her flying a few meters away. No wonder you tried to mess up my relationship with my cousin. You were spying on my cousin's husband. Now you can get lost, and Naylan Jing sneered. Who told you that I am not satisfied with this marriage? Nan Luo raised her eyes in shock and looked at Naylan Jing with some dismay. What does he mean? Unfortunately, Naylan Jing did not give her another chance to speak and turned to Feng Lianqing. Let's go, aren't you going to make me change into my wedding dress? Feng Lianqing was a bit dumbfounded and asked, How do you know? Naylan Jing smiled. His gaze fell upon the red robe in Feng Lianqing's hand. However, he did not say a word as he walked toward his room. Nan Luo lowered her eyes, hiding the cold light in her eyes. Feng Ruqing does not force Naylan Jing, but she forces Tang Yin to get married for her cousin's sake. She did so and Sui does not say anything? Me for extra chapters. Nan Luo stood up from the floor, wiped the blood from the corner of her mouth, and looked at the door that had been closed. She then turned around and walked toward the front hall. There were already guests coming one after another. Sui stood aside, looking at those guests who entered General Manor with an elegant smile on her face. Just at this moment, a timid voice came from behind her. Aunt Suyi. Suyi frowned and turned to look at Nan Luo, who was standing next to her. Why are you here? Nan Luo lowered her head. The moment she first met Suyi, she truly liked her because among that Nan family, only Suyi would speak for her. But why did she leave her behind? She knew her father was a brutal man, and yet she still left her behind, causing her to be hurt. If Suyi had taken Nan Luo with her, perhaps, Nan Luo would not have turned out this way. Chapter 1853, The Unexpected 6-inch Aunt Suyi. Nan Luo smiled faintly. I heard that someone from General Manor was getting married and came to take a look. When I was on my way here, I heard the servants say that the people who are getting married are young Lady Tang and Master Nalan. The wedding was about to start, so Suyi did not deny it. It was good to allow Tang Yin to marry so that she would not always cling to Qing'er. But, Nan Luo pursed her lips and sighed lightly, Aunt Suyi, I also saw young Lady Tang just now. She is completely unaware of this matter. I'm afraid it's not good to do so, right? Lying to her about her marriage? Suyi looked down and her voice was cold. Are you here to accuse Qing'er? I didn't mean that. Then what do you mean? How many times have I said that I am not your aunt? Why won't you listen? Suyi said indifferently. Or do you think I have anything to do with Nan Fong? No. I am worried that Sister Ruqing will make a faux pas and make young Lady Tang hate her. After all, what she is doing is tantamount to tricking her into a marriage. Oh, Suyi laughed. These are not your concern. Of course, Qing'er has her reason for doing so, and you have nothing to do with it. And again, I'm not your aunt, so she's not your sister either. Qing'er doesn't like people like you. Nan Luo's expression changed slightly and she lowered her head. Suyi's voice grew colder. This matter has nothing to do with Qing'er. It was Nan Xian who framed Tang Yin. Qing'er trusts Nan Xian. Naturally, she believes whatever he says. Tang Yin clings to Qing'er every day and Nan Xian is jealous. Suyi's words were like needles stabbing Nan Luo's heart. Her lips twitched and revealed a bitter smile. It's me being nosy. I'm sorry, Lady Suyi. I'll go back to my room now. Her smile faded. After dropping these words, she turned around and left. She then saw Tang Yin, who was being pulled by Qian Ning, walking toward the hall. Tang Yin looked confused. Qian Ning, why are all these guests here? Is today the wedding banquet? But Helian Yu's wedding dress is still with me, and I haven't even returned it to her. Suddenly Tang Yin saw Helian Yu coming from not far away. Ever since that day, after Helian Yu almost leaked the matter, she was locked up in the manor by the old master Helian and was only released today. Me for extra chapters. As soon as she came out, she ran to General Manor, but she was still a step too late. She saw a beautiful young girl in a red wedding dress. She froze for a moment and almost cried. Tang Yin, you're getting married? Didn't we agree to follow Shaoqing for the rest of our lives? If you're not here, the only one left to be beaten by Nan Xian is me. Alone, Nan Xian was a jealous man. Every time they came to find Feng Ruqing, they would be murderously stared at by that guy. Initially, if there was a companion, they could still bear it. However, if Tang Yin married someone, she was the only one left to face the threat in the future. Tang Yin was confused. What did you just say? Are you not the one who will get married tonight? How did it become her? Helian Yu wiped her tears. Wasn't it you and Nalan Jing who are going to get married? Our family received the invitation card a long time ago, but my grandfather and uncle did not let me go out, so I could not come out to see you until today. Chapter 1854, The Unexpected VI Boom. In that instant, Tang Yin's mind went blank as thunder rumbled in her head. She stiffly turned and looked at Qian Ning. Just now. Whom did she say was going to get married? Qian Ning was aggrieved. It's you, young lady. Tang Yin's mouth twitched and her body trembled. I'm getting married. I'm the last to know. Young Lady Tang, the sudden voice made Tang Yin even more annoyed. She turned around and after seeing that it was Nan Luo approaching her, she became even more furious and punched Nan Luo's face. Without any warning. This punch was even more ferocious than Nalan Jing's kick. Nan Luo instantly flew out of the courtyard and landed in the middle of the road. She was just trying to get up when a few swords were pointed above her neck, and the cold aura made her heart tremble. Young lady, you finally came out. We have been waiting for you for a long time. Master is looking for you. At this moment, Nan Luo felt cold all over her body. She had never left General Manor after coming here to avoid Nan Fong. However, in the end, she still could not hide from him, her lips trembled, and she slowly stood up with a look of despair on her face. She did not finish the task that Nan Fang had ordered her to do, and she also ignored the people of the Nan family outside, so she understood that this time Nan Fang would not let her go again. Inside General Manor, Tang Yin turned to Qian Ning, gritted her teeth and asked, "Qian Ning, did you also know about this matter long ago?" Qian Ning's eyes started tearing up as she nodded her head. However, after seeing Tang Yin's fierce eyes, she hurriedly shook her head again. "No, I only know about it today. But think about it, Guyi chose to marry the second master of the Mu family to stay close to Princess. You can also choose Nailin Jing, me for extra chapters." Tang Yin was speechless. "And if so, Nan Xian, he has no right to drive you away. Guyi is so smart. If one day Nan Xian can't control his jealousy anymore, he will kick you out and you will never find a way back." Tang Yin somehow felt what Qian Ning said was true. Fortunately, she quickly came back to her senses, stomped her foot and yelled, "But Nailin Jing is my cousin. How can I marry him?" "Young lady, he's Princess' cousin, not yours," Qian Ning explained seriously. Tang Yin felt a vicious stab in her heart. It hurt. "That won't work either. I'm too familiar with brother Nailin. He's like my own brother. It's not the same as how I feel about Xiao Qing." "Young lady, how do you feel about Princess?" "I want to worship her. I'm very fond of her," Tang Yin smiled. "I am willing to follow her for the rest of my life." Qian Ning was speechless. "But brother Nailin, I don't have the same feelings toward him at all. I like to spend time with him, but he is not someone I would worship. So I know very well that I will not marry him." Listening to Tang Yin's words, Qian Ning's expression froze. "Young lady, this is wrong." Chapter 1855. The unexpected VI. Qian Ning felt that it would be useless to explain any more. Tang Yin was too stubborn and would not listen to anything she said. "Young lady, you can learn from Maiden Guyi." Hearing this, Tang Yin fell silent. Suyi coughed lightly and said smilingly, "Nan Xian said that you were too annoying and always clinging to Qinger. He's trying to get rid of you." Tang Yin froze. "This vixen really wants to drive me away. Anyway, you're not our family. If he drives you away, you'll not have a reason to come back." Suyi laughed lightly. Tang Yin's face stiffened. She clenched her small fists tightly and growled, "That vixen is so rude. I'll marry brother Nailin. I'll have grandfather Nailin to back me up. I'll see how he can drive me away." Suyi subconsciously sighed with relief. Her smile grew over her lips. When she looked up, she saw Feng Ruqing approaching her. "Xiao Qing?" Tang Yin too looked at Feng Ruqing, who was walking toward her. Her eyes were red and she pounced toward her pitifully. "Xiao Qing, do you not want me anymore?" Feng Ruqing raised her hand and touched Tang Yin's head. Seeing her like this, she understood that this girl already knew everything. "You don't want to marry my cousin?" Tang Yin gritted her teeth. "I want to marry him. Only then Nan Xian would not have any reason to drive her away. In the future, when he saw her, he still had to address her respectfully. Just thinking about it made her so happy." "That's good," Feng Ruqing smiled. "The wedding banquet is about to start and cousin is probably on his way. We couldn't inform you in advance, so there are many rituals we couldn't prepare, but we will reorganize it for you after we return to Tsangyu mainland." "There's no need to reorganize it. One time is enough." Tang Yin pouted. She had no interest in it anyway. But, when she turned sideways for a moment, a thin figure appeared in her sight. The man was handsome and his face filled with gentleness. "Me for extra chapters." She was stunned because she had never seen such a side of him. He was much better looking than before. "Xiao Yin," Nailin Jing approached slowly and stopped in front of Tang Yin. He smiled gently as his eyes fell upon the young girl's pretty little face. You're so beautiful today." Tang Yin somehow took a few steps back. Her face was a little red like an apple. Feng Ruqing walked up to Tang Yin and held her hand tightly. "Cousin?" Feng Ruqing grabbed Tang Yin and put her small hand into Nailin Jing's hand. "From now on, I will give Xiao Yin to you. You must take care of her and protect her for the rest of your life." Nailin Jing held Tang Yin's hand with a serious expression, making his lifelong promise in front of everyone present. "I will." He would not let her suffer, nor would he let her shed tears. Chapter 1856. The unexpected IX. Tang Yin felt that Nailin Jing's hand was a little warm and wanted to pull her hand back, but Nailin Jing held her hand firmly and was unwilling to let go of it. "All right, everyone." Qinya came from a short distance away smilingly and said, You two prepare to go to the wedding ceremony. The guests are waiting. At that moment, Nalan Jing's nervous heart was about to jump out. He held Tang Yin's hand tightly, turned around and walked toward the main hall. Many people from Land of No Return had arrived, and they stood outside the hall, waiting for the couple who would be married tonight. It was the first time Tang Yin faced such a grand scene. She was so flustered that she was at a loss for words. Nalan Jing held her hand tightly, or perhaps it was Nalan Jing's strength that made her nervous heart gradually calm down. Just at this time, a loud laugh came from the sky and shook the entire manor. Tinya, someone in your manor is getting married. Why didn't you invite us? This voice was like thunder and instantly made Tianya's face turn cold. Feng Ruqing seemed to have sensed the cold aura around Tinya. Her face darkened as she looked at those people in the sky. In the sky stood countless people with powerful auras. They looked down, smirking at Tinya who stood below. Tinya, wait for me here. Tinya turned to look at Feng Ruqing. Wait. Seeing that Tinya was about to leave, Feng Ruqing raised her hand and grabbed his hand. She raised her head, gazed at the people in the sky and asked coldly, "Today is my cousin's wedding. If you are here as guests, we naturally welcome you. But if you are here to cause trouble, don't blame us for being ungracious." Ha ha. The green-robed old man in the forefront laughed wildly. His gaze was filled with contempt. "Little girl, I am talking to Tinya. Who are you and how dare you talk to me with that tone?" "You." Before he could finish his words, Tinya moved like a lightning bolt and punched the green-robed old man's face. Caught off guard, the green-robed old man took a few steps back. A trace of blood trailed down the corner of his mouth as he looked at Tinya angrily. Me for extra chapters. She is my granddaughter. What did you just call her?" Tinya smiled coldly. "There is an auspicious occasion in my manor today. I don't want to kill anybody, so all of you get out." Just as he was done speaking, a slightly familiar voice came from the side and into Tianya's ears. "Tinya, do you still remember me?" Tinya frowned and looked sideways, and soon, a woman with a hood appeared in his eyes. The woman was dressed in emerald green, her voice was cold and she looked at Tinya indifferently. "Grandfather?" Feng Ruqing looked at the woman, her face slightly sunk. "She is the person who was with Feng Lianyi back then. Nan Xian has searched for her for a long time, but I didn't expect her to appear on her own." The woman in green pursed her lips and laughed coldly. "Little girl, I didn't expect you to remember me. That woman Feng Lianyi was too stupid. That's why she got such retribution. I no longer have any relationship with her." Chapter 1857. The unexpected Tianya's gaze was tightly fixed upon the woman in green. When she took Feng Lianyi away, she did not say a word, but now hearing her voice made Tinya feel that this voice was somewhat familiar, as if he had heard it somewhere. "It seems you don't remember me anymore." The woman in green smirked. "But today we are here for one thing only. We want that little girl." She pointed at Tang Yin. Nalan Jing's heart tightened. He hurriedly shielded Tang Yin in his arms, his gaze alertly looking at the crowd in the sky. Tinya also froze for a moment. Initially he thought that these people came to mess up with him. He did not expect them to come for Tang Yin. Soon he came back to his senses and sneered. "I don't care who you are looking for. I won't let you take her away. Chinga, you take Tang Yin first. I will go later." "But grandfather, don't worry. I'll stop these people. You guys get out of this place." Tinya stroked his red robe, blocking these people. The green-robed old man looked down at Tinya from above. "Tinya, I have always admired you. You could reach the peak in just 20 years, but yet you are alone now and we have a lot of people." Tinya laughed out loud. "But you're all alone too before coming here. This group of people did not belong to any forces. But now, they had all gathered to bully a little girl." Tinya was angry. He did not say any more and rushed toward the green-robed old man. "Xia Xia, do not let go of my hand later." Feng Ruqing held Xia Xia's hand and then turned to Tang Yin and Nalan Jing, who were not far away. "Cousin, take Dyer and Xiao Yin and follow me." If it were in the past, she would not have had any worries. However, now, she had to take care of Xia Xia. She turned and looked at Tianya in the sky. "After I send them to a safe place, I will come back to you immediately. You must wait for me." Feng Ruqing's face was filled with determination, with an unwavering decision. She turned around swiftly and pulled Xia Xia along with her, leaving the manor. The people in the sky saw Feng Ruqing leaving with them. Their expressions changed slightly, and they were about to chase after them when a white dress flashed by, blocking them. "Me for extra chapters. Chinga, you do not need to worry. I will stay and help your grandfather to face these people. I will not let them catch up. Suyi looked as elegant as an immortal in her white dress. Her expression darkened as she looked at the group of people in front of her. In the backyard, the silver snake lay on the bed quietly, sleeping peacefully. The snakeskin, which was half removed, had completely fallen off, falling to the ground, but no one noticed it. The silver snake opened its eyes slowly, and its gaze was as cold and firm as a sword, with a cold aura, so amazing that it made people shudder. Within a few moments, the silver snake glided toward the exit of the room. Its body was huge, tens of meters long, and even thicker than a tree. It then suddenly disappeared. Chapter 1858. Tianya's rage. The sky was so gloomy as if there was a storm coming. Tianya held the long sword in his hand tightly as countless skilled masters stood in the sky above, surrounding them. There was no fear in Tianya's face. He kept his face expressionless. His body blurred like a gale of wind, and in a moment he was standing on top of a man's head. He swung his sword, setting off a powerful storm that could blow people away. All the guests have left, leaving only a mess behind. The woman gazed down at Tianya with a perplexed expression. However, Tianya did not even so much as glance at her. The white phoenix was by Suyi's side, looking at her worriedly, afraid that she would get hurt. White phoenix, you don't need to care about me. Go find Chinger and the others. No? The white phoenix shook its head. I won't leave you. From the corner of its eye, the white phoenix saw a man rush toward Suyi. Its face changed dramatically. Suyi, be careful. The white phoenix swiftly flew toward the man, blowing flames from its mouth. However, the man was too powerful, and his long sword still pierced through the white phoenix's body. Blood splashed out, staining its wings red. White phoenix. Suyi gritted her teeth and said, leave immediately. Go find Chinger and the others. The white phoenix coughed out a mouthful of blood. It shook its head, determination clear on its face. I said I wouldn't leave you. I will never leave you. Even if it would end up dying, it would not leave her. Tianya also received a cut on his shoulder. He was strong, but he, alone, could not withstand so many skilled masters. His robe was wet and dark with blood already. No one knew if it was his blood or his enemy's blood. Tianya, the green-robed old man smirked. Do you think that your granddaughter can leave so easily? More people are waiting for them outside the city gate. Ah. He had arranged his men to wait there. They had united together to get the beast man. When this matter was over, they would return to their own place, and once they separated, Tianya would go to them to get revenge. Me for extra chapters. Therefore, this time they must succeed. Tianya's face had not changed from when he faced these people until he heard this from the green-robed old man. He was furious, his eyes turned bloodshot, and his face darkened. You have a death wish, don't you? He raged, if you dare to touch my granddaughter, I will make sure you all regret it for the rest of your lives. Hee hee, the green-robed old man sneered. Your power alone is not enough to face us. How can you stand up to so many of us? Tianya, this time, none of you will be able to escape. In an instant, the green-robed old man moved above Tianya's head and swung his sword ruthlessly. Tianya clutched the long sword in his hand. His sword burned with a blazing flame, fiercely blocking the attack. The powerful force spread out rapidly with hot flames, destroying all the surrounding trees. You're tuning in to the Dreamy Chapters YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.